As Akari's praying at the temple, Shiori accidentally bumps into her and asks if she's her for her partner for the marriage practical, but she embarrassingly denies this and runs away. Shiori remarks that the practical is an activity where a boy and girl are paired as a mock couple. Everyone is agitated because of it, but that's not what she's worried about. Meanwhile, Jirō and his friend are sitting on the stairs, playing games and arguing about whether or not pixel art is better than the new 3D style before Akari arrives with her group of friends and smugly tells them to let them pass, hearing which Jirō says he never wants to get involved with girls her type. Going down the stairs, she excitedly greets Manami and starts flirtatiously talking to him as Jirō disgustingly watches from behind. Later in the class, he inwardly says he can't get along with any girl other than his childhood friend and first love, Shiori, who he has a small conversation with before the teacher starts explaining the rules. Later, Akari angrily asks Jirō why it had to be him in their apartment, to which he says he's wondering the same thing. She says they have to get over 10,000 points so that she can get paired up with Manami, who's currently with Shiori. She instantly starts bossing him around before telling him to give her a goodbye kiss as he gets ready to leave with his friend. Pressured from both sides, he quickly kisses her on the lips and embarrassingly rushes out. As he walks out with his friend, Akari shyly remarks no one said anything about it being on the lips. A week later at school, as he's doing class duty, the teacher tells Jirō to come to the faculty office when the days ended and to bring Akari as well. He sadly sits in class remembering how happy Shiori had looked with Manami and that she hasn't even noticed him, even though he's trying so hard to appear extra sad. As school ends, he sees that it's heavily raining and tells Akari that they have to go to the faculty office, but she tells him to take care of it alone and runs away as he remembers that he forgot his umbrella. As Akari's having fun at karaoke with Manami, Shiori approaches Jirō and says she forgot her umbrella as well before noticing how he's addressing her formally and telling him to call her Shiori like he used to, which shocks him as he starts blushing. Manami arrives to take her home, after which Akari also lends him her umbrella and blames him for ruining her time with Manami, to which he apologizes. Seeing that he's down, she tells him to not give up for both their sakes and prepares him omuris at home, affectionately caring for him, so he tries to feed her a bite as well, after which he runs to his room and the two comprehend their bubbling emotions alone. As Jiro's sleeping, he hears a knock on his door and goes outside to see Shiori shyly asking him to stay by her side for the night. He suddenly wakes up to Akari shouting at him to open the door, and when he does, she tells him to stay with her for the night. In the living room, he asks why she has to watch a horror movie at night if she can't handle it, so she answers that her friend said watching a horror flick with your spouse will help increase your points, which is why she also got them matching pajamas. She shyly tells him to turn around while she changes, freaking him out on how low she thinks of a virgin like him when the power suddenly goes out as he takes off his shirt as well. He asks if she's all right before she hugs him, as he realizes that she's only wearing her underclothes. Calming himself down, he uses his phone's flashlight and the two change, but she still stays close by him and eventually falls asleep before he says she's really cute and goes to sleep beside her as well, after which she shyly wonders what that's supposed to mean. The next day, he sees that they've reached B rank, but Manami and Shiori are at E rank, and later, when he's sick at home, wonders if Shiori would have cared for him upon receiving Akari's text, telling him to open the door when she comes back home. He hears someone on the door and excitedly goes to check it, wondering how Akari became so considerate and greeting her while opening the door before being met with Shiori, who says she came to check on him. Meanwhile, Akari sits down with her friends at a pancake place before Natsume tells her that the edges of these cakes are supposed to be as soft as a kiss, which makes Akari remember how Jirō had kissed her. She instantly says it isn't like that, hearing which Natsume asks if she went ahead and did it with Manami after the karaoke session, which she hurriedly denies. As Jirō sits on his bed, Shiori puts a cold compress on his forehead, remembering how he'd done so as well when they were children. She puts on an apron and goes to cook something for him as Jirō says he'll get the wrong idea again, remembering how he'd intended to confess to her when they were in middle school, but had chickened out when she'd said she was moving away and asked if they'd still stay friends, which he'd agreed to. He tells her that he'll vouch for her if she's having problems with her marriage, and embarrassingly goes to sleep, after which she stops herself from kissing him and later leaves. As Akari's later taking a bath, Jirō tells her that he'll help her get together with Manami and goes to sleep, after which she wonders why she's feeling sad even though this is what she wants. Akari asks Jirō what kind of things guys prefer girls for, to which he asks if she really means it, and says he'd personally prefer if someone made him a boxed lunch, which she agrees to, and says he's going to help him get good at making boxed lunches so that she can do so for Manami as well, which he nervously agrees to and helps buy groceries with her. Later, she cooks him up a feat and asks for an honest, detailed review, so he answers that it tastes really good, but he prefers his omelets to be sweet. She says she isn't making this for him, so personal preferences don't matter, which he agrees to. The next day, as he's having lunch, his friend expresses how lucky he is to have a girl like Akari with him. But he answers that she always wears skimpy, loose clothes, so he's the one who should be praised. Later, Akari makes a final boxed lunch to bring to Manami's part-time job and gets ready to leave in very exposing clothes before Shiori arrives to gift them sweet omelets that Manami likes. This disheartens Akari, who realizes she was wrong about what Manami liked, so Jirō tries comforting her but fumbles it and keeps coming back to her body, after which she climbs on top of him and says he can do that with her as well, slowly taking her shirt off, but he suddenly stops her in time, saying one should do it with the person they like, hearing which she gets up and says she agrees, which is why they should stop being a married couple. At school, Jirō wonders how it got to this and why they couldn't have just powered through this practical, but that can't happen now since he overstepped. At the month-end evaluation board, Manami and Shiori are now at a rank, but she gloomily notices that Jirō and Akari are now at E rank. In the bathroom, Jiro's friend asks what happened between him and Akari in surprise, so he answers that it's nothing before Shiori asks if she can talk to him alone for a bit, which he agrees to. They go to the rooftop and she asks what happened. He answers that he didn't completely understand her and overstepped, but doesn't know how to apologize now, which is why things are really awkward between them at the moment. She says she can vouch for him as a long-time friend and tells him to clear things up, which uplifts his mood, and he agrees to do so. At home, he nervously enters Akari's room and says he enjoyed spending time and eating food with her and asks her to become a couple with him again, which sets her off, and she starts laughing before saying she likes him quite a lot. Once he leaves, she blushingly heads to the balcony and remarks that she actually said it. Akari and her friends are talking about boys and admiring Manami while he's playing, as Jirō watches her expression and Shiori's elated expression and becomes annoyed, seeing which his friend, Kamo, says Manami really does feel like a different species than them before asking Jirō if he's heard the rumor. Akari's friend tells her that it's still new, but people are saying that Manami won't be changing partners despite having reached a rank, although the school probably wants them to keep changing partners since this practical is supposed to prepare them for the future. Akari says she doesn't like that since it feels like picking and choosing, as Jirō watches Manami and views him as a brave warrior who gets to have both Akari and Shiori. He says it's too unfair before class ends and he heads out. Shiori asks why his mood feels off and tells him to not cause much trouble for Akari since she's a good girl, before Jirō pauses and asks if she's going to stay with Manami forever. Meanwhile, Akari goes to set everything as the class ends and runs into Manami before asking him if he's going to stay with Shiori as her partner. He answers that he might since they get along well, before she starts crying and says some dust got caught in her eyes, so Manami cups her face, which Kamo spots from afar. Shiori tells Jirō that she wants to change partners to him when he reaches a rank, but gets interrupted as Kamo and the others arrive, which results in an awkward moment before Shiori and Minami leave together to tell the teachers that they're continuing them being a couple. Jirō tries talking to Akari, but she silently leaves, and he later hears that she's caught a cold. When he arrives home, he finds her sleeping on the couch and asks if she's feeling better before sitting down, and saying it's good that she's getting closer to Minami. She sits up straight and asks what he means, so he hesitantly says he heard they kissed in the room, hearing which she starts laughing, and says he was just checking her eye for dust before becoming solemn, and saying he isn't even looking her way despite what she's trying. She starts crying and embarrassingly tells him not to look, so he embraces her, saying he isn't looking now, and she returns the hug. Later, he remarks and ended up doing that and is too confused about his feelings since he's not the guy who's encountered crying women very often. Before Akari returns from the bath and says she borrowed his shirt before sitting very close to him on the couch. He asks her to be more careful, so she feels his heart and says it's pounding very hard before telling him that he's the only one she's kissed, which stuns him, so she tries waking him up as he inwardly remarks that he's super happy. As we reach the end of our journey through More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, the twists and turns of Jirō and Akari's unexpected pairing have left us on the edge of our seats. The mandatory couple practical class took an unforeseen turn when fate tossed Jirō and Akari together instead of their respective crushes. Yet, the duo decides to face the challenge head-on, aiming for the top 10 to swap partners. But in a moment of impulsiveness, Jirō kisses Akari, unleashing a wave of potential new feelings within each other. Join us for even more exciting anime recaps by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Until then, stay tuned for more unexpected twists and heartfelt moments.